Okay. Well, I'm so excited that you're all here for our final call. It is hard to believe that we're already done with the detox. So I just want to first congratulate you all for sticking with it and making it till the end. And, I've said this in the emails too, but whether or not you followed everything perfectly or, maybe you had a few moments of being off track, just the fact that you probably made so many different changes that you wouldn't have otherwise means that you're in a better place than you would have been 3 weeks ago. So that is something to be proud of, no matter, we always go in our minds to, well, I should have done this differently, but I messed up here. But honestly, I would just celebrate all the successes that you've had. So congratulations for everybody for making it to the end. Okay, so I'm going to do things a little bit differently tonight. As I was getting ready for this call, I realized that in past detoxes, one of the things I don't think I've emphasized enough is really how to create a healthy lifestyle moving forward. And so I really wanted this time to add in just some additional tips about what it looks like to have an overall healthy lifestyle and give you some practical tips there as well. And so it might take me a little bit longer than normal. So what I'm going to do is start with the PowerPoint first so I can make sure to share all of that information with you. Because my goal tonight is just to help you continue feeling great after the detox. So we'll start with that. I'll share the PowerPoint, and then at the end is when I'll answer questions. My goal is still to keep it to an hour so that we don't need to be here that long. So I'll keep it to the hour. But if you do have questions, I'll answer those at the end. And then hopefully at the end, we have time just to share a few celebrations as well. I've done a couple of the post-detox calls already today, and it's just so fun to hear the successes everyone's having. So I'm looking forward to doing a post-detox call with all of you. If you haven't scheduled it, please do so by Friday. But I'd love that chance to just help you figure out what your next steps are and what to focus on next after the detox is over. Okay. The other thing, just a couple quick other housekeeping things. In the email I sent yesterday on Sunday, I sent a link to a feedback survey. If you would be willing to take, 10 minutes to fill out that survey, I would really appreciate it. I really do look at all that feedback, and each time I offer the detox, I just try and figure out what are some things I can do differently or add in just to make it the best possible experience for everyone. So if you'd be willing to fill that out, that would be great. And as a little incentive for anyone who fills it out by this Saturday, May 25th, I will put your name in a drawing for a $25 Amazon gift card. So I'll draw that on Sunday for one person who has filled out the survey. And then on the survey too, the last question number 10 is optional, but it's a place just to share a little bit about your experience with the detox or kind of like a brief testimonial. If you would be willing to write a short testimonial as well, I would really appreciate it. Because, as some of you know, like when you're deciding whether or not to do something like this detox, there's a lot of questions that you might have, like, can I really do this for 3 weeks? What's it like? Am I going to be able to stick with it? And so I just think it's really encouraging to other people making that decision to hear from you who've done it before, not just from me. So if you'd be willing to do that, it could just be a short little paragraph, like just something you would tell your friend about your experience on the detox. That would be great. And then also I want to let you know that I am here for support throughout this week as well. I want to make sure that as you're reintroducing foods that you get all your questions answered. So feel free to ask questions in the Facebook group. I'll close that on Sunday, this coming Sunday, the 25th. And you can also email me this week with questions as well. So I'm happy to help you with whatever you have going on. And yeah, I think that's all of the housekeeping things I've had so far. Okay, anybody have any quick questions before I start sharing my information with you? All good? Okay, so I think what I will do is I'm going to mute you all for now. If you have a question as I go, you can always unmute yourself, or if you want to type it in the chat box, and I'll try and keep an eye on that as I go, and then for sure at the end I'll leave time to answer some of your questions as well. So let me share my screen with you. Okay. It's still hard to believe. I don't know if you feel like the 3 weeks has gone fast or not. I feel like it has for me, but you may not all feel like it's been a quick 3 weeks. But I really want to acknowledge, first of all, that how much you've accomplished over the past 3 weeks. I mean, if you think back to where you were before this detox began, to how you were feeling, to what you thought you knew about eating healthy, and then think about where you are now. I mean, in just 3 weeks, you have really learned the effect that toxins and inflammation and food sensitivities have on your health. You've figured out which common foods tend to be the most toxic and inflammatory. You've eaten clean for 3 weeks, which is a totally different way of eating. You've learned a lot of strategies to support the elimination of toxins. And what I think is sometimes most powerful is just having a bigger awareness of the connection between what you're eating and how you feel. So, I mean, it really is powerful, life-changing knowledge that you've gained over the past 3 weeks. And honestly, that's why I love doing a detox like this so much, is the first step to an overall healthy lifestyle, because you really do see some great results pretty quickly. So in today's call, here's what I want to focus on. So first, I just want to kind of show you a method for reintroducing foods. It's the best way to reintroduce food so that you can really figure out which ones are bothering you and which ones aren't an issue for you at all. So we'll go over that. And then this is what I wanted to really add in. I want to share with you 6 different areas that are important to focus on next so that you can continue feeling great. So that this isn't just something you do for 3 weeks and then go back to how you were eating before. So I'll share that with you. And then I also have some tips and ideas on how you could create a 90-day plan to really keep your momentum going that you've started in this detox. And then lastly, I'll also share with you how you could continue to work with me on your health and weight loss goals. Now that we're reaching the end of the detox, a couple people have reached out just to see what that would look like to continue working together. And I've got a couple of great offers for you, special offers and bonuses because you participated in the detox. And so the next step of working together would be my 90-day total body reset program. It's a private coaching program where you and I would work pretty closely together on your health and weight loss goals. So I'll tell you more about that at the end as well, in case you're interested. All right. So let's start talking about how to reintroduce foods. So now that the detox is over, it's really tempting, but I would strongly encourage you not to just start eating all the foods that you've been avoiding for 3 weeks at once. So all the gluten and sugar and dairy and so on. If you really want to make the most out of your detox experience, it's important to reintroduce foods using this method that I'll share with you. And when you do this, you'll really be able to figure out which foods are causing you inflammation and weight gain and pain. And you'll also figure out which foods don't really seem to cause you any issues. And so by following this process, you'll be able to continue feeling as good as you have been on the detox. So as a reminder, so here's the food groups we've eliminated. We've gotten rid of gluten and dairy, primarily because those cause a lot of issues in our gut and just cause inflammation overall. We've avoided soy, corn, peanuts, and those are also just common food sensitivities, and soy and corn just tend to be genetically modified and can cause problems. Sugar, obviously, because it's toxic and inflammatory. The nightshades, primarily because they can cause inflammation in the joints. We avoided coffee, and remember, that's because it's just the caffeine is one more thing for our liver to process, and we didn't want to do anything that would impair our sleep at all. And then lastly, alcohol. Again, it's one more thing for our body to process, and it tends to be really high in sugar, especially beer and mixed drinks and those sweet wines and those kinds of things. So those are the foods we've avoided. And so a lot of people want to know then, well, which foods do I reintroduce first? So here's a few tips that I have for you. My first suggestion would be to choose foods that you don't think will bother you. So often for people, that's nightshades, possibly coffee, corn, peanuts. So if there's, one or more of these foods that you feel like doesn't really cause you problems, then that's probably the best place to start. If you think there's a food that does bother you, like let's say dairy or cheese, then I would recommend waiting to reintroduce that until the end of the list. And this isn't always what we want to hear, but there very well could be certain foods that you just want to avoid completely. Maybe you want to try introducing gluten or dairy or sugar, but also know that sometimes those foods, you may just feel better without them or by reducing how much you eat them considerably. So that's kind of how I decide what to introduce first. So here is the process that I recommend. And this is like the gold standard way to reintroduce food so that you really get the best information possible. So what you want to do is to choose one food group to add back in at a time. So let's say, for example, you choose nightshades. So you would eat that food 1 or 2 times a day, every day for 3 days. So maybe if you're eating nightshades, you'd add some peppers to your eggs in the morning and maybe cut up peppers on your salad. And so you'd have it every day for 3 days and really pay close attention to how you're feeling. So notice, are there any changes in how you feel physically, in your sleep, energy levels, joints, how your mood, your just mental, your like ability to think clearly, anything like that. And so if you don't notice any changes in how you're feeling, then that's great. It probably means that that food is perfectly fine for you to continue eating and to include in your everyday diet. If, however, in those 3 days that you notice some negative changes, then what you want to do is stop eating that food and then add it back in again later. Because oftentimes as you work on healing your gut and your overall health, you might be sensitive to a food now, but later on in a couple months, you might be able to eat it without any problems. If you do have a negative reaction, I would also recommend, so let's say tonight you had peppers and you noticed that you have some joint pain after that. So you want to probably wait at least a day to reintroduce another new food, because you don't want to confuse the reaction from the peppers with the new food you're eating. So wait a day, make sure you're feeling okay, kind of back to normal, and then reintroduce the new food. And then you just continue this process with each food group, kind of one at a time. So, I know that this is it's a bit of a process and it takes a little bit of time, but it really does get you some pretty great information. So a few additional tips when you're reintroducing food. I often in the past have had people, tell me that they feel so good on the detox that they're nervous to reintroduce new foods because they don't want to start, feeling bloated again or having any kind of issue. And I would just encourage you to, that's the purpose of reintroducing things one at a time. Maybe it will cause a reaction, but then you'll know what exactly is causing that reaction. The other tip I have for you here, and I say this from my own personal experience, is try not to be too obsessive when you're reintroducing foods. It's really easy for me to, I'm reintroducing foods and, I have a headache and I'm trying to pinpoint exactly what caused that headache or what caused that joint pain or that bloating. And sometimes you just get a headache. And so just know that, yes, it's great to make those connections between what you're eating and what you feel, but then also know that sometimes, something happens and there really is no discernible cause for it. So yes, pay attention, but also, you don't need to become really obsessive about it like I have in the past. And the goal here is really to figure out how you can eat as wide a variety of food as possible while still feeling really good. So if a food, makes you feel good, there's no point in restricting it. And we don't want to restrict more than we need to. So that's kind of your goal as you're reintroducing foods. And finding that balance does take some time and it takes some effort. But what you learn during the process is invaluable. And then you have that information moving forward. Okay, so that is everything I have on reintroducing foods. If you do have questions, feel free to put it in the chat or I can answer it at the end as well. But hopefully that kind of just gives you a good feel for how to do this process. Okay, so here's what I also really want to stress tonight, that if your goal is to lose weight and to keep it off and to have lots of energy all the time and to feel really good, then it's important to realize that doing this detox is just one piece of a bigger puzzle. And it is a great first step to losing weight and to feeling better, because you're really able to start healing your body on a deeper level during the detox by getting rid of toxins and lowering inflammation. And so essentially your body now is primed and ready for good health and for weight loss. But if you just go back to how you were eating before the detox, then this just becomes another short-term diet, one of many diets that we've probably all tried before. And that doesn't give you lasting results. And so what I want to do is just share with you an overview of the detox is the first piece of the puzzle. So then what makes up the whole big picture? And so that's what I want to go through with you right now. And so there really are, I believe, 6 key areas that are important to focus on to have an overall healthy lifestyle. And when you do this, you'll have this healthy lifestyle that you can stick with long term that helps you maintain your ideal weight and to feel good ongoing. And that's my goal and my hope for all of you, is that this just kind of jumpstarts good health for the future. So I want to go through each of these steps briefly. I won't go into too much detail, but I want to explain each one. And then for each one, I just chose, one practical tip that you could start implementing that would get you started on that step. So that way, at least by the end of this, you'll have some ideas on additional things you can start doing to continue with the momentum that you've built during the detox. Okay, so step 1 is really creating a clean eating lifestyle. So you have during the detox got an idea of what it's like to follow a clean eating plan, even though it has been, more restrictive than it needs to be long term. But now that the detox is over, it's really important to dive a little deeper and to get clear on the ideal foods and way of eating that will work best for your body on a regular basis. And, the good news is you don't have to be as restrictive as you have been on the detox in order to feel good and to eat clean. And so this step is really just all about figuring out, how do you make this way of eating feel like your new normal? And, when I'm working with private clients on this, it can take a couple months to really work out some of the kinks, like figuring out, how do you follow a clean eating lifestyle but still have meetings at work and have lunch meetings? Or how do you still go to friends' houses? Or how do you go on vacation and do this? Because, on diets, we usually think we go on a diet for a predetermined amount of time, but this is really figuring out, how can you do this every day, even as life happens? Because there's always things that come up. And honestly, I can tell you, I've been doing this, following this way of eating for about 8 years now. And it really is possible to make it work and to make it enjoyable and to still enjoy the food you eat and not feel like you're deprived. So my tip for you here to really focus on is to eat nutrient-dense foods as much as possible, as often as possible. And you really got an idea for this on the detox. But, the latest nutrition research shows us that what you're eating is so much more important than how much you're eating, how many calories or what your portion sizes are. So the goal now would be to just continue eating nutrient-dense foods and making that the foundation of your diet. So, for example, you want to continue eating lots of vegetables in a variety of colors, especially leafy greens. You'll want to eat good fats like avocados and coconut and olives, nuts and seeds, and then including some superfoods here and there, whether it's chia seeds or hemp seeds or collagen or goji berries or spirulina. I mean, there's all kinds of superfoods. So if you make that the foundation of what you're eating 80% of the time, you're going to be well on your way to creating a clean eating lifestyle. Okay, the second step then of creating this healthy, ongoing lifestyle is to learn how to eat balanced meals that keep you full and satisfied and also turn up your metabolism. So, when you're eating meals that are balanced, it makes it so much easier to stick with eating healthy, because that will continue to keep your cravings down. And it will also help you so that you eat a meal and you don't think about food again for another few hours because you're full. And, when you're eating this way, it really can turn the fat burning switch on your body so that it's easier to maintain that weight loss that you want, if that's one of your goals. So my tip here, and again, this is something that, I'll spend 3 or 4 weeks working on with people to really help them fine tune it. But the basic idea is, every time you eat, every meal, make sure you're including protein, fat, and fiber. And ideally, that fiber is going to come from vegetables. So this would mean, for example, let's say it's lunch and you're eating a salad. So you might have a grilled chicken as your protein. You might make a salad dressing with good, healthy olive oil, and then you might add some extra avocado for your fat. So olive oil and avocado's the fat. And then you have 2 or 3 cups of lettuce for your fiber and your leafy greens, and then add some cucumbers and carrots. So that would be a really well-balanced meal that includes the protein, fat, and fiber. So I just, the more you do this, the easier this way of eating is to maintain long-term. Okay, step number 3, this is a really big one. It is understanding what is driving your eating habits. So, I talked about this, I think it was last week a little bit, but if you're eating when you're stressed or eating because you're bored or tired or lonely or sad, I mean, that's going to cause you to overeat and make it hard to lose weight. But also, if we're eating when we're stressed, we're usually not making the most healthy choices either. So it's important to really start identifying what is driving your eating behaviors and what thoughts and beliefs are going on in your mind that are causing you to eat. Things like, well, I deserve this treat, or I have to clear my plate, or it's a special occasion, so it's okay to have a piece of cake. It's really important to figure out what all those thoughts and beliefs and the emotions that are driving your eating habits, because until you really figure that out, then you'll just continue to kind of stray from making the healthy choices that you want to. And honestly, this is one of the reasons why a lot of diets don't work long term, is because you're not addressing the root of the issue. So my tip here for you, one of my favorite strategies, there's lots of ways to address this step, but what I would encourage you to do is that every time you're about to reach for food, check in with yourself first and just ask yourself if you're actually physically hungry. And if you are, great, go ahead and eat. But if you're not, ask yourself an I wonder question. And so what I mean by this is you just ask yourself something like, I wonder why I want this piece of chocolate right now, or I wonder what's making my brain think I need to raid the pantry, or I wonder what's causing me to want to eat right now. And the goal is not to beat yourself up or to be hard on yourself, but really just to get curious and start being aware of what's causing your eating behaviors. And once you can figure out why you're turning to food and why you're eating, then it's so much easier to come up with a plan to address it. And I can tell you that this just makes such a huge difference in being successful long-term with eating healthy. So that's a really important step. The 4th step then is just looking to make sure that you balance your hormones and address other weight loss obstacles. Because, when your hormones aren't balanced, let's say your hunger hormones are out of balance, that'll make you feel hungrier more often, which causes you to eat more. Or if your thyroid hormones aren't, working optimally, that can cause fatigue, it can cause weight gain, as a variety of other symptoms as well. Or, let's say your cortisol levels are high, then that can make you more likely to store belly fat. So it really is important to make sure that your hormones are well balanced. And then in addition, some people need to address other obstacles like blood sugar levels, making sure they're staying stable, or improving your gut health. So those are just kind of some other underlying issues that in order to have a healthy lifestyle long term, it's important to look at and get to the root of the issue, get to the root of why you're struggling with your health or your weight. So there could be lots of different tips that I give you here because there's lots of different issues, but I decided because so many people I work with often struggle with blood sugar levels, my tip that I would suggest is that you keep your blood sugar balanced by eating slow carbs. And here's what I mean by slow carbs. Slow carbs are the ones that take your body longer to digest, and so they're not going to spike your blood sugar as much. So some of my favorite slow carbs would be, starchy vegetables like sweet potatoes or squash and beets and jicama. It would also include really any kind of fruit or gluten-free grains like rice or beans. Those are all great slow carb options. And you want to eat these instead of the really refined and processed carbs. And so unfortunately, that means, the processed carbs are things like breads and chips and, muffins and pastries, all the things made from flour, because flour honestly will spike your blood sugar almost as much as sugar does. So really opting for those slow carbs as often as possible is going to keep your blood sugar more stable. It'll keep the cravings down and your energy up, and it'll be easier to lose weight. Okay. Step number 5 then in creating this overall healthy lifestyle is to create an exercise routine that you enjoy and accelerates fat loss. And, I firmly believe that if you rely solely on exercise in order to lose weight, it rarely works, but it really does help to add in some targeted physical activity that will help you burn fat and lose weight and just really feel healthier overall. But in order to, create this healthy ongoing lifestyle, you really want to find exercise that you enjoy so that you stick with it long term. And some exercise is definitely better than others when it comes to the benefits you receive from it. So my tip for you here would be to check out high intensity interval training or Tabata workouts. These are both just really great workouts. There's so much research that supports your metabolism stays elevated for longer after doing them. They're great for cardio. There's just a lot of benefits. Personally, I love it because you don't have to work out for an hour to get the benefits. I mean, these workouts are usually shorter, but they're in higher intensity so that you get the results quickly. And if you just Google high intensity interval training or Tabata workouts, there's all kinds of, information. There's YouTube videos and all kinds of stuff. Okay, and then the last step to really having an overall healthy lifestyle is keeping your stress levels low. Last week or 2 weeks ago, I don't remember, we looked at some of the effects that stress has on your health and your ability to lose weight. So even if you're eating perfectly, exercising regularly, not having well-managed stress will stop you from feeling good and having that ideal weight. So it's an important piece to look at. And one of the ways to do this is by also sleeping well, because that helps your body deal with levels of stress. So my tip for you here, there's so many different stress relieving tips I could share with you. One of my favorites, because it's simple and pretty quick, is to meditate for 5 minutes every night before bed. It's one of my favorite ways because you can just do a guided meditation. There's different apps like Headspace. I think Simple Habit is one. Calm is another one I've heard of. But you can do an app and it just, for 5 or 10 minutes, it just helps you calm your mind. So if you have like a racing mind or if you have trouble sleeping through the night, it can be great for that. And, so many people just find that throughout the day, they're more present. Their mind's not racing all the time. So it's another just great strategy to add in to really increase your overall health. Okay, and I don't see any questions in the chat, so I'll keep on going. Feel free to put them in there if you have anything. And am I still recording? I think so. Okay. All right, so those are the 6 steps. So what I wanted to do, because as I was thinking about how can I really help you continue what you've been doing moving forward, I was just thinking about the fact that I love creating 90-day plans. I think 90 days is such a great amount of time because it's long enough to get you great results, but it's not so long, like setting a New Year's resolution, that you kind of lose sight of the goal by the end of the year. So, so now seems like a perfect time to do this. We're nearing the end of the May, summer's starting. So I would encourage you to think about what you could do over the summer, so June, July, and August, to really move your health forward even further and to take it to the next level. So I just have some ideas for you to think through, and what I would suggest is maybe setting aside some time in the next day or two, like 15, 20 minutes, where you could go through this and really create a plan for yourself. But here's, what I would do, how I like to create some 90-day plans is, number one, you have to figure out what your 90-day goal is and be really specific about it. It could be weight loss related, but it doesn't necessarily have to be. So, but for let's say, for example, your goal is to lose 10 pounds by the end of August. So you have your goal. And then what you want to do is look at those 6 steps to a healthy lifestyle that I just shared with you. And you do want to address all of them, but decide what are 1 or 2 areas that would be most helpful for you to focus on first. So choose those couple areas. And so let's say you decide that you really want to understand what's driving your eating habits and you want to manage stress because you feel like stress is a part of it. So you kind of have 2 areas of focus. And then just brainstorm a list of everything possible that you could do to work on those 2 areas that'll help you get to your goal. So for example, if you want to manage stress, you could meditate, you could deep breathe, you could go to yoga, you could journal. So just make a list of everything possible. And then look it over and just choose a couple of the tasks that you think will be most likely to help you reach your goal. So what are the ones that are going to get you the biggest bang for your buck? And then what's really important is you don't want to just decide that you're going to do it, but you actually want to think about, like, what do you need to figure out in order to accomplish it? If you decide you want to keep a journal to start identifying triggers for eating, overeating, then you might need to figure out, well, how do I keep that kind of journal? Ask yourself, what kinds of resources or support do you need? Do you need somebody like a coach to help you identify your thoughts that are getting in your way? Do you need to find an app to help you with meditation? And then lastly, look at what is most likely going to prevent you from moving forward. I think this is an important question to address because then you can plan for it. So for example, if, at the end of the night, Netflix gets in the way, you want to watch Netflix, and so you don't take time to meditate or have a good nightly routine, then you can create a plan to prevent that from being an obstacle. So those are the how I would recommend creating a 90-day plan going forward. And I will. So like I said, I made some last minute decisions to add in some of this information to tonight's call. So I didn't have my PowerPoint ready to send you ahead of time. But when I send out the replay, I'll send a link with these slides so that you'll have a copy of all the information as well. And you'll have this list of questions then. So just kind of decide, and even maybe you want to make a note to go ahead and create a 90-day plan for yourself in the next few days. So like I said, the detox is a really great way to jumpstart your weight loss. And here, just as a recap, are the 6 areas that I think are important to make sure that you focus on next to continue having really good health. So it was creating that clean eating lifestyle, making sure you're eating balanced meals that keep you full and satisfied and keep your metabolism going. It's understanding what drives your eating habits, balancing your hormones and other weight loss obstacles, creating an exercise routine that you enjoy and accelerates fat loss, and then keeping your stress levels low. So those are the 6 pieces to really having a healthy lifestyle moving forward. And hopefully you can see how implementing all 6 of these pieces really will help you lose weight and keep it off long term. I mean, and that's the goal, that we don't want this to be just some diet that you only follow for a few weeks. And, the really exciting part, I think, is that when you take the time and effort to address all 6 of these areas and create that healthy lifestyle, then it means that you no longer have to go on any more diets. You don't have to count calories anymore. And you can end the struggle with your weight and with food and just finally feel comfortable in your body. And I'm confident that that is possible for all of you to achieve. And I also know that, for some people, they feel confident doing this on their own, and other people do want a little bit of expert help and support to make that happen. And so if you're feeling, excited about taking the work that you've done on the detox further and just really implementing that healthy lifestyle long term, then I'd love to continue supporting you in that journey as well. So for those of you who are interested in a little bit of extra help and support, I'd love to tell you just a little bit about my Total Body Reset program as an option that you could take if you're interested in further support. And then we'll wrap up and get to questions. So just briefly, the Total Body Reset program, it's a 90-day program that I offer, and it's really meant to help you create that healthy lifestyle and a healthy relationship with food so that you can maintain that ideal weight for your body, that you can continue the good energy and good health that you've started to see during the detox. And so this is a private coaching program with me, and so it's very personalized, and so during it, we work closely together every week as you make changes so that you have all the guidance and the resources and the accountability that you need. And so because of that, it really is perfect for anyone who has struggled to be consistent with eating healthy long term. And really, so I kind of see it like there's two choices right now. I mean, You know, the old saying, if you do the same, by doing the same old things, you get the same old results. For a lot of people, especially people who have gone on diets before, this detox, what it looks like to do the same old thing would be to, eat really well for 3 weeks on the detox to feel good. And then gradually week by week to go back to return to your old way of eating. And so I just encourage you not to view this detox in that way, because it will, it hasn't worked in the past, and you'll keep getting that same results and keep feeling stuck and struggling with your health and your weight. So a different way to approach it this time is to really use the momentum that you've built on the detox as the first step towards ending the struggle with food and with your weight for good. And that means, kind of looking at all 6 pieces of the puzzle and figuring out where your gaps are and getting to the root of the issue so that you can feel good moving forward. So, and that's what I do in the Total Body Reset. So it's not for everyone, but just to kind of give you an idea, the Total Body Reset would be for you if you're serious about ending the cycle of dieting and just, counting calories and really restricting yourself a lot. It's also for you if you're willing to get guidance not only around what you're eating, but as well as the other puzzle pieces. So looking at what's driving your eating habits and what other lifestyle pieces do you need to look at. And that would also be for you if you're really wanting to get healthy in a healthy, sustainable way and not, do these, short-term programs that don't last. So I'll share with you briefly what we cover in the Total Body Reset program. There's kind of 3 main areas of focus. The first one is, looking at creating that clean eating lifestyle. So, I know that one of the common struggles people face when trying to eat healthy is you go on a diet, but then you're not sure how to maintain that after the diet is over. And so here we just really figure out what are the best foods for you personally that you can eat to continue feeling great. We'll look at how to create those balanced meals to keep you full and satisfied. We'll deal with all those situations like what do you do when you're eating out or you're on vacation? And essentially the goal is to answer the question, how do I make this way of eating feel like my new normal? And so that's what we cover there. What I love about taking this clean eating approach, I just want to share with you, Pam was somebody I worked with probably a year or 2 ago. But, like she said, I quit thinking about food all the time and I lost weight without actually dieting. And that's the goal here, is to not feel like you're dieting or on a program for the rest of your life. And at the end, she said the best parts of the program is that she actually enjoyed eating the food she prepared and her meals tasted better. So I just want to encourage you, because I feel like some people think that if you're going to eat healthy for the rest of your life, that means you're not going to eat good food, or you're going to feel deprived, or you're going to be missing out. And just know that that's not the case. You can eat this way and really enjoy your food and the whole process itself. So that's the first piece, is the clean eating lifestyle. The second piece is creating a healthy relationship with food, with your body, and with yourself. And, this step is critical if your goal is to maintain your results. And it's often overlooked in most diets. And it's one of the big reasons why I think people have trouble sticking with eating healthy. So this is where, in the Total Body Reset, that we would really look at what's driving your eating habits. And I'd share just different tools and strategies to figure out what's causing it and creating a plan to deal with that so you can continue eating healthy long term. And what I love to hear from people about this step is that so many people say they just find freedom from food. It doesn't feel like it controls them anymore. They don't feel like they're thinking about food all the time. And then another important piece here is also just learning to be truly happy no matter what the number on the scale says. Because, I think so often, I don't know if you have ever noticed this, but we often think, well, if I just get to that number, if I just get to 130 pounds or whatever it is, then I'll be happy. But when we don't do the work on the inside, we're still not happy when we get to that weight and then the weight comes back on. So I really think that that's a key piece that helps people maintain their weight loss long term. So I just wanted to share one other story with you of Trisha. I think she was in her 30s when we started working together. She had not a great relationship with her mom. Her mom really contributed to some issues she had with food. But after working through this, like the emotional eating piece of it, Trisha had noticed that she said, I no longer think about food all the time, feel the need to eat all the time, or use food to deal with my emotions. And I was able to overcome a bad relationship with food. What I also really love, she says here at the end, is that I have gained self-confidence, and that is something I've never really had before, and I'm truly grateful to her for helping me find that. And that's what I love. When we deal with our issues of why we're eating and why we're turning to food, when we address the stress or the bad relationship with our mom or, whatever's going on, you not only lose weight and feel better, but you just feel happier in life overall. You feel more confident and you feel like you can live life more fully. And so that to me is one of the most exciting things about the process. Okay, and then the last piece that I focus on in the total body reset is creating a overall healthy lifestyle. So, this varies a little bit from person to person on what it looks like, but it's probably creating a consistent exercise plan if that's not something that you're already doing. It's looking at your blood sugar levels, gut health, levels of stress, and sleep, and just really optimizing whichever ones of those might be interfering with you feeling really good. So those are the 3 areas that I work on in the program with you. And just kind of how it's structured. So I really believe that having guidance and just kind of a sounding board is really important to long-term success. So this program is set up where you have weekly coaching sessions with me. They're private coaching sessions. And that's where I just guide you through the program. You get my personalized attention on how to make the program work best for you. Because I really don't believe that what's going to work best for you is the same thing that's going to work best for everyone. So it's important to be able to tweak that. And so that's kind of the purpose of the coaching sessions. And then also, there's email support between sessions so that you don't feel stuck or overwhelmed or alone during the process. And then, as you can probably tell from going through this program with me, I'm a big fan of just having resources and materials that will make the process feel simpler and less overwhelming for you. So in the Total Body Reset, I have created, 12 different guidebooks. So each week there's a guidebook on a different topic that takes you through the program on things like meal planning and fats and carbs and improving your sleep, managing stress, and lots of other different things. There's also another recipe guide. I think I have about 80 or more recipes in this one now. You get a goal setting workbook that really will help you stay motivated and on track during the program, and then just a variety of other handouts and templates and checklists that I provide during the program. So normally this program for the Total Body Reset with everything included is $1,197, but I really wanted to be able to offer you just something extra since you participated in the detox and to make sure that you have the support you need. So because you participated, for anyone who enrolls in the program, I'm going to also add in a bonus grocery store tour. These I found are really fun to do because it's a chance for us to go to a store of your choice and really just answer all those burning questions you have about what's actually healthy. And then I can also, give you ideas about reading labels and looking for new produce and new ingredients that you haven't tried before, and just helping you feel more confident as you navigate the grocery store. And for people who don't live locally, then I will offer a virtual kitchen makeover session instead, where we can still cover a lot of these same issues. So that session, if you were to book it by itself, is $147, but I'm adding that in for anyone who enrolls because you're in the detox. So just kind of as you're considering whether or not this is right for you, I just wanted to recap what's included. You get the 12 coaching sessions, the weekly guidebooks, the unlimited email support, a recipe guide, other handouts and templates, and then the bonus grocery store tour. So separate, it is all, a value of over $2,000. But like I said, the everyday price is $1,197. And then because you participated in the detox, I also just want to honor that work, and I appreciate you trusting me and signing up for the detox. So I'd also love to offer you another $100 off when you enroll by May 31st. So that's not this Friday, but next Friday. And so if you enroll by May 31st, there's 2 payment options. And actually, if you pay in full, I offer another $100 discount. So then that makes the program $997. Or you can make 3 monthly payments of $366. So I truly did love working with all of you in the detox. And, if you are looking for support as you continue the journey forward, and if my style resonates with you, then I would love to be the person to support you in that. And so, if you're interested, you can go to either of these links to purchase the program. The first one is the pay in full, ChristinaJohnsonWellness.com/TBR for Total Body Reset. And then the second one is TBR_payment. And then obviously on the post detox call, if you have questions, I'd be happy to answer any, questions that you have about this, or feel free to email me if you have questions or just want to figure out if it's right for you or not. Like I said, I know it's not right for everyone, but I just want to offer that to those of you who feel like you would love some support to keep going on creating that overall healthy lifestyle. Okay, I see we have a question. Let me check that real quick. Deborah says she's glad I'm coming to Toronto. That would be great. That was actually one of my ideas for our vacation this year. I think we're going south instead, but someday we'll make it to Toronto, Deborah. Okay, so as we wrap up, before I get to questions, I just wanted to give you some ideas on what your next steps could be for moving forward. So first of all, I highly encourage all of you, I don't know if you've done this yet or not, but be sure to take that toxin and inflammation quiz again that you did at the very beginning of the program. That was in your daily workbook. So take that again, and then at the very end or middle of the workbook, I think it's page 21, it just helps to really reflect on all the progress you've made. Sometimes you don't even realize some of the improvements that you've seen until you go back and look at where you started. So take time to do that and to celebrate your success. Number 2, make sure you create a plan and decide how you want to reintroduce food. So figure out if you're, what you want to reintroduce first, and hopefully you'll do it in a structured way that really gets you the best information possible. And then I would encourage you to look at those 6 puzzle pieces and create a 90-day plan for yourself. Like what do you want to do next? How are you going to really continue feeling good and healthy? Because the last thing I want for you is to kind of like slowly drift back to how you were before. I would love to see you feeling good long term. And then make sure you attend your post-detox strategy session with me. If you don't remember, some of you booked like at the very beginning. So if you need a reminder of when that is, just let me know. You'll also get a reminder, I think 48 hours before the appointment. You'll get an automated reminder. But yeah, I'm looking for it. I love just talking with people about what your experience was on the detox. And then lastly, just kind of think about the Total Body Reset program I shared and just see if that feels like the next best step for you to take. And let me know what questions you have about that. I'm happy to just help you think it through and decide if that is right for you or not. And, either way, I definitely, hope that we can stay in touch. The Facebook group does close in a week, but you can all join if you're not already in my ongoing free private Facebook group. And so I share lots of, weekly tips and challenges in there as well. So be sure to keep in touch that way. Okay, so let's see if anyone has any questions. I know I've talked a lot, but yeah, so does anyone have any questions about anything I shared tonight about reintroducing foods or what next steps to take? If you do, you can kind of wave me down or just unmute yourself.
Christina, if you reintroduce something and you don't feel it's affected you in any way, so it's like I'm going to reintroduce chicken and turkey. Do you then reintroduce another food on top of that, or you do one at a time?
You can keep on top of that. If you feel pretty good, like you didn't notice any difference, then I would continue eating the chicken and just keep building on that.
So does it ever happen that the 2 things you introduce interact badly and you could feel not well or, have affected because they've interacted together?
Like if you introduce chicken and turkey, you mean? Or
no, so say if I introduced turkey for 3 days, I made a turkey meatloaf so I can, keep at it for 3 days. And I don't see any difference. So I decide, maybe I'll introduce nightshades.
Okay. Yeah,
And
I don't think that's typically an issue. I don't
okay,
think those two foods would interact to
okay,
cause a negative reaction.
okay.
Typically, it's more your own body's immune response to that food.
So I can layer on the
Mhm.
reintroduction. Okay.
Yeah. Makes it go a little bit faster that way, at least. You're not
Yeah.
deprived quite so long. Yeah, good
Thank you.
question. Anyone else have other questions? Okay. Well, we have a couple minutes. I would love to hear, if you don't all mind sharing, just maybe one thing that you're like your biggest accomplishment from the past 3 weeks, or something you're most excited about or happiest about. We can just kind of end on a good note and celebrate each other's successes all together. So, anybody willing to? I'm just going to mute everyone right now. And then anyone willing to share first?
I will, because I know Christina knows that I've always looked at this as from a health perspective. So we've never even talked about my weight. And I've kind of set that off to the side. But this time on this detox, I thought, well, okay, I will weigh myself and see, does it make a difference? So I was telling her that I'm actually down 6 pounds.
Wow.
And didn't that wasn't something I planned for. So it's kind of the surprise. And I just wanted to get off the diet mill. And I think I've done that. I think that's where I'm at on,
Yeah.
would I like to take next steps to lose some weight? I think I am at that point without it. And I now don't feel like I could do that and have to diet.
Yeah.
I could do that and still eat the way that I've spent almost a year developing it and sticking with it. So
That's great. And that's what's so great about this, is that you don't have to be on a diet in order to be at a
no,
healthy weight.
no.
And honestly, I myself just struggled in my business whether or not I really want to talk about weight loss, because that's not like the end, or like that's not what's most important to me. It is about just feeling healthy. But honestly, when we're at a healthy weight, that's usually a sign that we're healthier overall.
Yeah.
So it kind of goes hand in hand. So I'm excited to talk more about that with you on your call
Yeah.
tomorrow.
I'm mulling it over.
Good. All right. Who wants to share next? Something you're most excited about or proud of from the past 3 weeks? Terry, you want to go? You're on the top for me.
Sure. Yeah, my husband's leaving, so I was like, is he going to come say goodbye or not? I guess not. So, well, I am pretty excited. I lost 10 pounds and
Wow.
definitely wanted to jumpstart the healthy eating, and I think I did it. I didn't crave anything other than I kind of miss bread and peanut butter, but that's okay.
Yeah.
I just need to go in moderation.
Yep.
Lost 6 inches overall. But the biggest thing is I have not craved sugar. And that was probably the biggest reason I needed and wanted to join this, is
Yeah.
just kick that nasty habit. And it worked. So I'm happy about that.
That's great.
Yeah.
There is freedom in that, like not feeling like you need sugar all the time. Being able to look at something and just think, I could take it or leave it.
Yeah, I even passed it up twice today. So didn't
Wow.
have to, but I did.
Good for you. That's awesome.
Thanks.
Jody, how about you?
Yeah, not or beating sugar, like not being controlled by that is huge.
Yeah.
And carbs is huge. I just feel more in control, and yeah. I don't know what else to say.
Okay. Yeah, that's great. Just feeling in a better place, not as controlled by food.
For sure. And definitely interested in keeping it going and
Mhm.
trying new things, so
Yeah. Good.
yeah.
I'm glad you did it.
Yeah.
Stephanie, how about you?
Well, the sugar thing for sure.
Mhm.
But for me, I have had cravings So like dark chocolate, I love dark chocolate, and I just want to taste. But I think that now I can control it. I don't have to resort to the Skittles bag in my classroom. That was kind of my go-to. Mid-morning, oh, there's some Skittles there. I'm going to go grab some, get my candy fixed for the day. How terrible is that? I know. I know. But I think I can avoid that now. I have for the past 3 weeks. So I think I can control that.
Yeah.
And also the coffee thing too. I was so addicted to coffee every day, and I haven't had it now for 3 weeks, and I didn't even think about it today. I haven't really had anything, not even the green tea, and I've been pretty good.
That's great. Do you feel better, do you think, without the coffee?
Yeah. Because before it, I don't know if it controlled me, but I'd wake up and I'd be like, I have to have some coffee.
Yeah.
At least my mug of coffee, my cup of coffee every day.
Yeah.
And it wasn't just black. I'd have to put in some cream and some sugar, and
Of course.
and that's what would get me.
Yep.
I know it would. So yeah, I feel pretty good about that.
Good.
We'll see if it continues.
Yes, it sure can.
Exactly. It sure can. I like tea, so
Yeah.
yeah.
I know somebody I was talking to today said that like if they felt like they committed so well to these 3 weeks, and they just felt like if they could do that, then there's nothing they can't do. And I just feel like that's so true. I mean, you proved to yourself that you can do this for 3 weeks. So why can't you continue going forward, or why can't you do other hard things in our life? And so it's kind of fun, I think, to see that and just see how it affects our whole lives, not just food.
Mm-hmm. It's affected my kids too. Like today, it was field day and they had to take their lunches. And my 7-year-old, last night we were thinking about what to have for lunch. And she said, I think I'm going to take some carrots and some grapes and some sugar snap peas. I'm like, really? No chips? No goldfish? But I want to be healthy.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, and whether or not you're saying a lot or not, they obviously are watching what you're doing. And
yeah. And the whole smoothie thing, I've been having a smoothie every morning, and they're getting into that. I don't think theirs is quite as healthy. They're not adding the spinach, but it kind of grosses them out. So, yeah.
Well, that's great. Yeah, I love it when, you can expand this way of eating to the whole family.
Mm-hmm, for sure.
So. Well, I'm so glad that all of you had some successes, each in your own way. And I'll be looking forward to talking to you all more on your post-detox calls. And if you do have any other questions while, this week while you're introducing foods, be sure to just let me know. I'm happy to help. And, hopefully we'll continue to stay in touch. If you do want help continuing, forward, then let me know that as well. So yeah, thanks so much for being a part of this, and we'll be in touch.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Bye.
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 Bye.